Hello guys, welcome to another build for Diablo 4 beta. This time it's gonna be for Rogue. I just did one for Barbarian and Sorcerer. This one is in the same line as the Sorcerer one. I'll give you some details on the tree and the aspects of power that you can use. For Rogue it's pretty simple. This one is more of a range focus instead of, melee focused Rogue. We're gonna use as our core skill rapid fire. Our basic skill will be puncture, so you're basically throwing blades at a short distance, and every third cast you are slowing enemies. Then you use enhanced puncture, you gain more energy, and fundamental puncture. So the idea here is to cast vulnerable and of course to also generate some energy with puncture. Then we go for rapid fire. Rapid fire is, it's as the name says, you are rapidly firing 5 arrows. Each deals 34% damage, and combo points will increase the damage and arrows fire. You go with enhanced rapid fire, which means that each arrow from rapid fire subsequent one will increase the critical strike chance up to 55% on the 5th arrow. And on the improved one, you also gain 15 energy per cast of rapid fire when you damage a vulnerable enemy. That's why you use puncture first. Enemies will be vulnerable, and then you cast rapid fire. From rapid fire, we are going into the agility tree, and in here we are using dash. As the name says, you are just dashing and slashing. We are also using concealment or stealth, where you vanish from sight, you get invisible, and you gain an advanced form of stealth for 4 seconds that will not be removed by taking damage. This will also mean that any CC that comes through you won't do any pain because you are getting unstoppable, and you're also getting 25% movement speed. You also go with enhanced concealment to get more energy as you go through it, and each the skill that will break the concealment, which I recommend to be rapid fire, will mean that you'll get a guaranteed critical strike. So if you can do this on the 5th arrow for rapid fire, you'll deal a lot of damage. We go then with exploit. Exploit means that you deal 12% increased damage to healthy and injured enemies. You put 2 points here, and then we go into imbuements tree. You go into shadow crash, which will give you lucky hit, and the shadow damage has up to 10% of chance to stun. But what we really want from here is the consuming shadows. Each time that you kill an enemy with shadow damage, you'll generate 30 energy, so you are always recycling energy that you need for rapid fire. You also get Shadow Imbuement, which will imbue your weapons with festering shadows, and this will deal shadow damage and infect enemies. This is really important. Infected enemies will explode on death, dealing 40% damage to all surrounding enemies. You'll go then with Enhanced Shadow Imbuement, which gives higher critical strike chance against injured enemies, and Blended Shadow Imbuement, which means that the primary explosion from infected enemies will also make them vulnerable for 2 seconds. So the idea here is you keep the energy cost of rapid fire low by applying vulnerable with puncture, and or the blended shadow imbuement as you saw here, which also gives vulnerable, and you also recover energy with concealment up there, and with consuming shadows here each time that you're killing an enemy as you keep spamming rapid fire. So that's basically what you need to do. Keep enemies infected, keep enemies vulnerable, deal rapid fire, and you recycle energy by using the blended shadow imbuement and concealment as you do it. For our ultimate, we'll go with Rain of Arrows. As the name says, you are basically over a large area, AoE area, you are putting down arrows, and it will also have increased potency, imbuement skills that are applied by Rain of Arrows, and Supreme Rain of Arrows, which means that the second wave also knocks down enemies for 3 seconds. Now on this build, I highlighted here some aspects that you could look out for. The best one that we could get is really the repeating aspect, which basically means that rapid fire has a percentage chance to ricochet to another target. This is pretty big. If you get this one, the build will be simply amazing. It will feel amazing. There's also this one. When you cast dash, a shadow clone is spawned at your location that also casts dash, dealing percent damage off the base damage. And also, aspect of the expatent, attacking enemies with the basic skill increases the damage of your next core skill cast by up to something. So basically, as you put them vulnerable, the next time that you cast rapid fire, it will deal even more damage. You also have this aspect of quickening fog, where you automatically drop a smoke grenade at the end of the dash, and the dash cooldown is reduced. This one and this one are the best for the build, if you can get it on your items, and this one you can at least farm on Skozglen. I don't know if Skozglen is available on the beta, but you know that this is a pretty good one. This one is RNG, as far as I know, so if you can, look out for these aspects for your gear, and enchant your items if you want min-max, of course, but these three is what you should follow for this build. It's pretty simple build. It all revolves around rapid fire on vulnerable and infected enemies, and you get energy back to use rapid fire by using your concealment and by using your blended shadow imbuement with the explosion. That's basically it for this build. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll also drop the link for the build on the video, on the video description. Guys, see you on the next one for a build on Druid, and probably the build that I'm going to use for this beta. Have a good one.